Watch Kyle's new vid. Kyle Kulinski. One hour ago. What the hell happened? Okay, let me tell you what happened, okay? So, I have everything in my head now, okay? I understand the thought process. I thought a lot about my conversation with Mike. Wait, that guy stopped, but there was no sound. Why? Or was there sound? There is sound? Wait, you heard? Sound is fine? Oh, no, I meant there wasn't the sound of him subbing. Whatever. Okay. So, Kyle Kulinski's video is basically going to say, this was posted 1 hour ago. I swear to God, I haven't listened to this, okay? His video is going to say, the mainstream media was constantly opposed to Bernie. And since they were constantly opposed to Bernie, to average low-information voters, the appearance was that Bernie was not electable against Trump, even though we know that's not true, because Bernie's awesome, and we'd suck his dick if we could. So, since Biden was being touted constantly as this guy that was more electable than Bernie by the lamestream media that's biased and corrupt, that caused people to vote for Biden en masse. That's what happened. That's going to be, I don't know why his video is 20 minutes long, but I'm willing to bet that that's going to be the entire video. We'll 2 times this, because this guy is fucking dumb as fuck.
All right, so it's time for Super Tuesday 2 results, and I'm going to do my best to explain for everybody what the hell is going on in this Democratic primary. Many of you are probably shocked at the results, although many of you probably aren't at the same time if you were familiar with the polling coming into Super Tuesday 2. So, Joe Biden won the Democratic primary in Mississippi, Missouri, Idaho, and Michigan. Those are very devastating. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Bernie won Michigan over Hillary Clinton in 2016. It was, a very famous comeback. He was about 20 points down in the polling coming into Michigan on the day. There was a 99% chance, according to most pollsters, that Hillary was going to win. And then,
can you hear that or no? Was it too quiet?
Bernie famously came back and won and kept himself in the ballgame. In the case of Idaho, that's also a pretty big blow to Bernie because Idaho was leaning Bernie, and it was sort of expected to go to Bernie, and it went to Biden. In the case of Missouri, there were many experts who, were saying it's leaning Biden. But for me, what I wanted to see out of Bernie to show us some results and some life moving forward was I wanted to see Bernie edge it out in Missouri, but he didn't. And of course, Mississippi was unfortunately a foregone conclusion going into the night. Now, Bernie did win in North Dakota, and the Washington primary results are not in yet. They're stuck at about 70% at the moment. And at the moment, Bernie has a slight lead on Biden, although really at this point, that could very well be subject to change. I don't know. So those are your results for Super Tuesday 2. Biden wins in Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, and Idaho, and Bernie wins in North Dakota, and Washington is still out, but Bernie has a slight lead. Now, there's a lot to say about this, but first and foremost, let's talk about caucuses versus primaries. Now, Bernie Sanders happens to agree with me that primaries are more democratic, full stop, so we should have more primaries. And the wild thing about that is, without a doubt, that has hurt Bernie Sanders. A bunch of...
Bernie bros loved caucuses last election cycle. They loved... I wonder where Kyle was. I wonder if Kyle was pro or anti-caucus before the caucus results started coming in. I'm super curious about that one. I don't know. Kyle might have always been against caucuses. I'm not sure, but...
States that in 2016 held caucuses now have primaries, and Bernie has done worse in the states when they moved to primaries. When it's a caucus, you need a very energized and mobilized base in order to do well. And, of the contest last night, there was one that was a caucus, North Dakota, and that's the one that Bernie won. So his very selfless, principled belief in primaries over caucuses has actually hurt him pretty significantly in this election. So that's just a quick side point. But now, okay, so what the hell happened? What's going on here? There was a giant sea change after Nevada when Biden won South Carolina. Ever since then, Biden has been a runaway train and, basically destroying everything in sight. And when it comes to turnout, the numbers are staring us right in the face. Everything is plain as day. There has been a giant, tremendous, gargantuan surge in older voters, suburbanite voters. And that is having the exact opposite effect of what Bernie Sanders wants. Of course, Bernie wants to see a giant surge among young voters. and new voters, which would then help him. But really, turnout among the young is comparable to 2016. If you look at every primary and caucus put together, turnout is up from 2016, but still overall it's about the same. And there's some contests where turnout is even down a little bit among the young. But turnout for older voters is through the roof. So what happened? Well, when you look back at what's happened to this point, what I'm now calling Bloody Monday was when the dynamic of this race completely shifted. And Bloody Monday, of course, is Monday evening before Super Tuesday 1, when you had Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar drop out and endorse Biden. You had Beto O'Rourke endorse him as well. That was an attempt to help Biden in Texas. It did help Biden in Texas. And the establishment coalescing, in large part because Obama reportedly made the phone calls behind the scenes to get them to do that and offer them positions and whatnot. The establishment coalescing turned out to be, honestly, too much of a mountain for us to climb. And Bernie Sanders and his team and his strategy, what the campaign was trying to do, they actually succeeded. They succeeded, but the game changed on them. So
they actually didn't succeed. The whole goal of the Bernie campaign was to turn out voters that had never been turned out before. It was to build a coalition of voters to come out and vote that traditionally were never at the polls. That was the Bernie Sanders campaign mission. They failed. Full stop. That's it. This idea that, I don't know where he's about to go with this, but this idea that Bernie's campaign could only win if four other moderates were there splitting the vote, that Bernie Sanders was only going to win with Pete and Amy and Bloomberg and Biden all splitting the vote. Sounds like a pretty weak-ass campaign, dog.
They went into it expecting, okay, we have a fractured field. This is exactly like the Republicans in 2016. So their goal, and they're open about this fact, was if we just get 30% in every state, we got it. And that's what they were gearing everything towards. That's what their goal was. And then they were caught with their pants down when the establishment coalesced. And then the calculation had to be, okay, now we're not trying to get 30% in every state. Now we're trying to get 51%. So, in my opinion, that absolutely requires a new strategy. And I don't think they were able to make those adjustments in time. But also, I just don't think they were able to make those adjustments at all. And as a result of that, you see what happened. So, here's what happened. Number one, Bernie and his team, their strategy worked for what they were trying to do, which was get 30% in every state. But the game changed.
Imagine that being your goal, is to have 30% in every state. What is this Bernie bro math? What is this Bernie logic? Our goal. Okay, so hear me out. This is our election strategy, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to hope, okay, that 3 or 4 relatively similar candidates stay in the race all the way to the fucking convention so that they constantly split the vote amongst themselves, so that we just need to get maybe 30, 35% of the vote, and then when we go to the convention, we can look at all those losers fighting, like, yo, give me the nomination, dog, I got the plurality. That was the strategy. That was the grandmaster, Kyle Kulinski, founder of the Justice Dems himself, with this grand electoral strategy. Get 30% of the vote. Good one, Kyle.
Evening before Super Tuesday, which meant they needed a new strategy.
Yeah, imagine that bumper sticker. Vote Bernie Sanders, uniting the 30%.
Strategy, and they were caught off guard, and they didn't have anywhere to go. So that's point number one. Point number two is, it's very possible that on Bloody Monday, our die was cast, and there was nothing we could have done. So in other words, even if the Bernie campaign 100% adopted the strategy that I was pushing for them to adopt in order to adjust to this new reality, it's possible that it was just too little too late, and Biden was going to win moving forward. The third point is, and this one I think is really, really important, because this is one where I think the Bernie campaign was secretly abysmal. We need to be able to play backroom politics better. Because what you see here, the third point is, and this one I think is really, really important, because this is one where I think the Bernie campaign was secretly abysmal. We need to be able to play backroom politics better. Because
Yeah, he calls it backroom politics, but perhaps we're entering the world of insight. Maybe politics is real. Maybe courting endorsements, talking to people behind the scenes, maybe not trying to go it alone on every single fucking issue. Maybe there's something to that, It is a democratic republic. There are a lot of people that you need to sign on to vote on legislation. A lot of moving pieces that you don't have control over every single aspect of. Maybe that's a good idea.
What you see here is the establishment Democrats are serious about politics. They're serious about politics. They're serious about making it work. And they will do anything that they can do in order to win. And you saw Amy and Pete take one for the team and endorse Biden. Again, they probably got promises of positions in his administration. But you saw that as soon as Obama made those phone calls, everybody was obedient and they fell in line, which means they're organized and they have solidarity. On the left, or what we nominally call the left, it's chaos, it's mayhem. So, you know, if we played backroom politics better, it would have been interesting to see how it would have unfolded if, as soon as Biden had that rally with Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar, and, you know, they're bragging about how Biden's the way to go, and we're endorsing him, and isn't he wonderful, and these are all people who heavily criticized him previously, but all of a sudden now they love him. What if we countered that with doing everything we could behind the scenes to get Andrew Yang, Tulsi Gabbard, Tom Steyer, and Elizabeth Warren to endorse us? Because at the very least, you blunt the media momentum in that scenario. You make it so that there's an asterisk next to every single fawning segment about Biden. Oh my God, look how great he is. Look how many endorsements he got. What if they had to add at the end of every fawning segment or every fawning sentence on these networks? Yeah, and also, by the way, Bernie racked up more endorsements from other people who were running.
In case you guys aren't aware of this, wow, Kyle is surprisingly sober right now with his takes on this. I wish that I would have shown on stream more, but these were the endorsements that they had. And it's always looked like this. This isn't recent. Biden has always had so many more endorsements from representatives, from former party leaders, from senators, from governors, from mayors down here, legislative. Biden has always been on top when it comes to getting endorsements. Bernie has just been, I think Bloomberg even had more endorsements than Bernie. There is no excuse for this. When you've been a senior congressman for the better part of the last, 40 years, this shouldn't be happening. You should have way more people on your side. Unless your political revolution is going to be a violent one and you're just going to start fucking killing people, you got to have allies, man. You need to build that coalition. To quote Hillary, you know, nobody likes him. I mean, I'm not sure what the political strategy was there for just not giving a fuck about endorsements, especially for like Congress people and whatnot from states that, from states that they were going to like primary in and shit. It's not good.
Is the way to go, and we're endorsing him, and isn't he wonderful? And these are all people who heavily criticized him previously, but all of a sudden now they love him. What if we countered that with doing everything we could behind the scenes to get Andrew Yang, Tulsi Gabbard, Tom Steyer, and Elizabeth Warren to endorse us? Because at the very least, you blunt the media momentum in that scenario. You make it so that there's an asterisk next to every single fawning segment about Biden. Oh my God, look how great he is. Look how many endorsements he got. What if they after?
Wait, and you were questioning endorsements just last week? They're super important. No. The endorsements that I was questioning is I didn't know how important it was to like get an endorsement from somebody that was running against you, like going into Super Tuesday. I don't know how important like those 2 or 3 endorsements were. I don't know if those actually changed the electorate so much that like I'm pretty sure that it's hard to make this argument. The only amount of polling data that I can cite that would support me, but maybe voters would feel differently, was when people were polled how they would vote when Warren dropped out. The difference between her endorsing Bernie and not endorsing Bernie was like 33% versus 36% of her supporters that would go to Bernie after. It was like 3 points difference. So those are the endorsements I got. Not endorsements in general, just like those particular endorsements before Super Tuesday is what I was talking about.
Nevada, he wasn't even finishing. He was finishing way back in the pack. Nevada, he came in second, to be fair. But in Iowa, New Hampshire, he was donezo. He was gonskis. So this feeling of him as inevitable wasn't always the case. So if we were able to go tit for tat better with the establishment, I think that would have helped. And then the fourth thing is, and this one I think there's going to be a lot of debate on the left about, we either need to, moving forward, the left either needs to find a way to get corporate media to not hate us, or we need to actually build alternatives that are big enough to compete and set the narrative. Because I hate to say this, new media, myself included, we just aren't big enough yet to control the narrative or compete with old media. We're just not. We fell abysmally short. In many ways, this race was old media versus new media, and us new media people got our asses kicked. We just couldn't do enough to help Bernie and set the narrative and get him over the edge. We did okay with our demographic. Our demographic, by and large, is young people. In fact, we did very well with that demographic. Statistically, we got such a high percentage of young people, but it wasn't enough to win the election, because this was the revenge of the normie Democrat. The boomer liberal, the person who's drunk on MSNBC and CNN, and they genuinely believe the best way to beat Trump is with a cognitive declining Biden. So we're not big enough. So either we need to get so that we can set the narrative, or we need to play the game of politics better and somehow find lefty candidates who the media doesn't despise. And maybe it's as simple as, I don't know, complimenting them and telling them they're awesome behind the scenes and building relationships behind the scenes and just avoiding outright attacking corporate media, stump speeches or whatever it might be. I don't know the answer. And honestly, I don't know which one of those two paths is better in the long run. But what I do know is what we try here, and Bernie is open and honest, and he's like me when he talks about me. He doesn't like corporate media. But that really did backfire, because the nonstop, relentless, endless parade of Biden inevitability and sucking up to Biden and loving Biden and talking about his endorsements and saying he's the most electable, that absolutely had a deleterious impact on the election and helped Biden and hurt Bernie. So listen, what do we do from here? I mean, the positive news is the strategy that I laid out in great detail for Bernie post Super Tuesday has not changed one bit. So scream electability, 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 electability. I'm electable, Biden's not. I'm electable, Biden's not. Biden is Hillary Clinton 2.0. Hillary lost to Trump. We're going to run that same failed mistake again? That same failed experiment again? Is that what we're going to do? You bring up John Kerry. Hey, remember in 2004, John Kerry, Howard Dean? We rushed to nominate and coronate John Kerry, and then he lost to George W. Bush. I'm the most electable. I'm the safe option. He needs to hammer that home. Biden is Hillary, Biden is Hillary, Biden is Hillary, Biden is Hillary. He has to say that nonstop. He has to stop saying Biden's my friend.
So for them, except for this thing about electability at the end, Kyle's video, this is actually a surprisingly good video from Kulinski. I don't know if he fucking sobered up, if he's been high on fucking cocaine or fucking smack or whatever the past 6 months, but for the most part, everything he said is like, okay. The real question now, the final collapse, okay? Where's the camera? Is it there? Am I looking at you? Or is it over there? I think it's over there. Is if Biden crushes Trump. If this is like, there's a lot going on here, but like, if Biden... Wait, I was thinking the same thing. It seemed like you were being too hard on him on this take. Wait, what? I've been nice to him. This is a fine take. I'm not biased against Kyle. I just think he's a fucking degenerate moron, spineless fuck. But if he says something smart, I'll agree with it, of course. This has been a decent video so far. If Biden were to crush Trump, that would be with working class voters. I wonder what that would mean for the Democratic Party going forward. If that would be like an insanely positive thing. But then again, these always seem to swing back and forth anyways, right? I saw the same thing on a Sun stream. They're finally starting to wake up to the monumental odds stacked against Bernie, and now they're thinking about how to play the game instead of alienating themselves from the media. Yeah, this was part of what I realized over the past 4 years, is I've kind of like learned a little bit more. It's not plus 850 for me, it's plus 1,100 or whatever, by the way. Not plus 850, because I win more, because the odds or whatever, right? When 2016 rolled around for me, I saw the establishment media. I hated all of the establishment. All of it was rigged against Bernie. All of it was horrible, blah, 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 blah. What I didn't realize was that these systems exist for a reason, and they're pretty important. And it's not just that they're rigged and horrible and corrupt. It's that it makes sense that this is how things have to work. Like, for instance, like out of the Obama and Hillary campaigns, you're finding like staff that are going to be working on the next cycle of campaigns for the next 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years because they have the experience to do it. And it makes sense that when people are involved in the same thing, that you're getting a lot of these people going from one area to another. You're probably going to get candidates that get hired by CNN. You're probably going to get people working at the DNC and working on MSNBC. Like, it just makes sense that these people are going to be going like back and forth to everything. And like being a part of that conversation, being a part of that establishment is important. Because there needs to be an establishment. There has to. We can't just, every single time a new candidate runs, you can't just build something new from the ground up. That just doesn't make any sense. So like the existence of an establishment is pretty important, and it's good to, not to say that all establishments are perfect. There's definitely parts of any system that could be criticized, especially media today. Holy shit. But it's taking part in that and trying to change it that way rather than just saying, well, fuck all that shit, we're just going to do our own thing. It's not going to work in a democratic system unless you want to go the violent revolution route.
To stop saying, yeah, I think Biden can beat Trump. Oh my God, as he said repeatedly now to the media post Super Tuesday, which is just unfathomably stupid. And other than that, it's a Hail Mary pass. Again, I would have Bernie also say, I'm the moderate, I'm the centrist, I'm right smack dab in the middle of American public opinion.
Bernie has already kind of sort of started to do that. Bernie's walked back a lot of the mean things that he said against Trump. Now Bernie is all, Bernie is saying things like Trump was a cool dude, like we worked together. I think they had an ad where it showed him like Obama saying nice things about Bernie and shit. So I mean, like Bernie's like changed his tune. It's a little bit late. Did I say Biden, not Trump? Wait, what did I say? Fuck, sorry, I'm reading like 20 names in chat. Bernie changed his tune on Obama and now that like they had an ad recently where Obama was saying like nice things about Bernie and shit, where he changed his tune like pretty hard on that. Even though in the past I think Bernie's been on record saying things like Obama is a centrist or Obama's not like fuck, I don't remember, but. Does it make sense to have a Bernie Biden ticket to get back with it? No, you don't do that. Vice presidents, you get vice presidents to shore up vulnerable states. Like, that's it.
Policy issues. So Biden's the extremist because of the Iraq War and the outsourcing deals. But beyond all that, we do have a debate coming up. And really the Hail Mary pass is just how badly will Biden be obliterated? Will he be unable to speak in full sentences? You know, is his brain going to stop working? Is he going to just totally look like a fool and open the door for Bernie to have some shining moments, which totally shifts the dynamic of the race? Because we're at that portion of this race, the Hail Mary portion of this race. Bernie's going to stay in. Bernie's going to do the debate. Bernie's going to see out the rest of the votes. Biden is literally in cognitive decline, so I don't blame him for that for a second. But we are at the Hail Mary portion of this race. And honestly, it's incumbent upon all of us, but even the Bernie team at this point, you got to let everybody know what Biden's cognitive situation is. Because if there's one thing that will not sit well with me after the race, is if we didn't do everything we could to defeat Biden. And post-Super Tuesday, the strategy has been lackluster, to say the least. They haven't adjusted to the new reality. They haven't adjusted trying to get normie Democrats, suburban Democrats, and older voters, crushing with the younger demographic, but that's simply not enough. So now it's time to let everybody know, hey, Biden is literally losing his mind, and you will lose to Trump if you go in this direction. So that's the place we're at right now. It's not pretty, but it is what it is. And as always, we plow forward. And if everybody's feeling down, you're granted that permission to feel down. But you can only sulk for so long, and, you know, you have to have the heart of a warrior and the heart of a champion. I tell this story a lot on the channel, but remember, Tiger Woods won the U.S. Open on a broken leg, which is basically impossible, but he did it. It would have been so easy on the first day of the tournament for Tiger to be like, wow, this really hurts. I'm done. I'm tapping out. I'm just going to nub it around the course the rest of the time, or I'm going to withdraw. I don't agree with that mindset. If we go down guns blazing. And, you know, by the way, I knew our situation was bleak, hence the last show I did, which was me emptying the clip at Joe Biden. I hit him with every single thing I had. Now, unfortunately, my little corner of the internet is not enough to swing an election, obviously, but I hit him with every single thing that I had, because I knew our situation, and we had to fight as hard as humanly possible. And the final thing I'll say is this. By the way, there are a lot of liars out there on social media, and there are a lot of liar commentators out there who take things out of context on purpose. There are a couple, you know...
Kyle Kulinski was literally retweeting Trump propaganda about Biden just a couple days ago. I don't know if he deleted the retweet or not, but classy, Kyle.
Things I've seen tweeted at me where people are saying, hey man, why were your predictions so wrong? To which my response is, I didn't make predictions. Anybody who watches this show knows exactly what I said and knows all the nuance and all the detail.
I didn't make any predictions? Wait, where's the tweet of him with all the states where he's like, these are the ones he's going to win, these are the lost causes? What do you mean? Wait, what?
People are claiming I did, because they took the videos out of context on purpose, is they're showing the pre-Super Tuesday 1 video I did, where I gave people an idea as to what would happen. They're clipping out the part where I say very clearly, number one, I'm not making any predictions. Number two, this is according to Nate Silver's 538. Quote, if the probability holds exactly as it is, here are the results. Bernie wins at least minimum 8 states, maximum, I believe, 13 states out of 14 or 15. So I'm saying I'm not doing predictions, and this is according to Nate Silver's 538, if the probability holds.
Has Kyle always been cool with 538? The impression that I got, and I could be wrong, because I don't follow any of these losers too closely, the impression that I get from a lot of these people, to be fair, this is just going by what I see on Reddit and Twitter, is that Nate Silver is a worthless fucking hack piece of shit establishment. Whoa, wait a second! He's calling Bernie! Nate's fucking awesome, dude! He's fucking awesome! Oh my god, he's a fucking hack, dude! 1%? Are you saying? That's the impression that I get of left-leaning people when it comes to Nate Silver. Now, maybe Kyle Kulinski's not like that. I'm not sure, but... Oh, here you go. From February 23rd, Kyle Kulinski retweets, very good thread about the anti-Bernie bias at 538. My favorite part is the repeated attempt to downplay a giant win by claiming it was expected, as if that somehow discounts it. Yeah, okay. All right. So Kyle's probably closer to what I said than to what he's claiming now, but... Kyle on Nate Silver. When, on September 12th of 2019... So several months ago, when exactly did Nate Silver become aggressively wrong about everything? Okay.
That's not a prediction. That's me saying, here's the picture according to the experts. That's what that is. And the only thing I said post Super Tuesday 1, leading into Super Tuesday 2, was the polls don't look good. I made 0 predictions. So there are a lot of smear merchants out there taking things out of context on purpose because they want to make me look bad, they want to make the show look bad, they want to make it look like, my prediction abilities aren't good. But again, I didn't make a single prediction.
Man, this is, hell yeah. Yeah, we're bearding out, boys. All right, sorry.
And anybody who watches the show knows that, and everybody knows the strategy I've been screaming at Bernie to do all along. And unfortunately, the adjustments weren't made at the right time. But even if they were, it may have been the case that the establishment coalescing was too tall of a mountain for us to climb in the first place. So, it is what it is. And by the way, the video I did about Super Tuesday, leading into Super Tuesday 1, that I did on Monday morning, that actually is something that you should watch with amazement, particularly because that was the race. The race was over. Bernie won the race if it wasn't for the establishment fuckery, or as Noam Chomsky says it, the shenanigans of the party managers. The race was over is something that you should watch with amazement, particularly because that was the race. The race was over. Bernie won the race if it wasn't for the establishment fuckery, or as Noam Chomsky says it, the shenanigans of the party managers.
So, Bernie won the race as long as 4 moderates all stayed in competing against each other for the vote. Okay. All the way to the convention, by the way. Now, God, there's so many... Fuck! I wish we had historical counterfactuals. Imagine Bernie's strategy, 30% all the way to the convention. Imagine how fucking ass-mad these guys would be if we got to the convention, everybody stayed in, but then the other 3 guys just pledged their delegates to fucking Biden. How do you think they'd be cool with it then? They'd be like, wait, what? Where they go in, and then Pete and Amy and Bloomberg are like, okay, we give up. We're going to go ahead and pledge our delegates over to Biden now. And then he lost that way. Like, they probably call it a coup. Unironically, yeah, they'd probably Hassan would be like, if this was happening in Bolivia, you would call the OAS and go and investigate. 100%. Like, even if this strategy, which is entirely piss poor, even if they made it all the way to convention, splitting the vote, they could have just pledged the delegates at the end anyway.
That's how Noam Chomsky refers to it. So yeah, obviously, if I'm telling you what Nate Silver's predictions are prior to Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar dropping out and endorsing Biden, that significantly changed the game against Bernie in a massive way. So, bottom line is, guys, we had the race until Barack Obama made those phone calls and Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar sold out for cabinet positions. I never had faith in them to not sell out in the first place, but usually you're supposed to bet on ego in politics. And in this case, the ego didn't hold up. The establishment organized in a way that the 2016 Republican Party could not organize against Trump. So Bernie had the race. And then you can thank Bloody Monday for totally shifting the dynamics of the race. And,
it sucks that those endorsements happen because people are constantly going to fall back on that now. That was, even though the writing was on the wall the whole time for Bernie, like, people are constantly going to fall back on, oh, the only reason Bernie lost? Oh, it was just because all of the endorsements on Monday night. Okay, dude.
That's upsetting, but it is what it is. But if we go down swinging. I, for one, still cannot wait to cast a vote for Bernie Sanders here in New York. Because last time I did that in 2016, it felt amazing when I did it, and I'm sure it's going to feel amazing again. And I highly recommend all of you continue to get out there and vote for him and fight for him, regardless of what's happening at the moment.
Is there a source on Obama making phone calls? The only thing that I'm familiar with was Obama talking to Pete, saying that he has a lot of leverage now or something. I don't know how much coordinating was done behind the scenes, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if fuck, I hate chairs that can't slide under a table. What the fuck is the point? It wouldn't be at all surprising to me if Biden's campaign reached out to the other people and was like, hey, you should get the fuck out. Yeah. What's going to be the excuse if Biden loses to Trump? What do you mean? What is the excuse? He would just lose to Trump. You don't need an excuse for it. Trump would be the more popular candidate.
6% of bankruptcies in low-income households.
That's a more reasonable number.
And 20.
Wait. Hold on. You just gave me the difference between 6